Have you ever wondered how gratitude can radically transform your life? In this video, we dive into the inspiring words of G.K. Chesterton to uncover the hidden power of gratitude. In a world that constantly pushes us to seek more and more, finding true happiness might seem impossible. But what if the answer is closer than you think? We'll explore how gratitude, this simple yet powerful practice, can change your perspective, strengthen your faith, and bring joy to each day. Get ready for a deep reflection that will challenge your view of life and motivate you to live fully and abundantly, recognizing the blessings God pours out on you. Discover the secret that can transform your faith journey and bring peace to your heart. Have you ever stopped to think about how gratitude can be the key to a fulfilling life? In a world where the relentless pursuit of more seems to be the norm, gratitude emerges as a countercultural force, a secret door that many are unaware of, but one that can lead us to true happiness. G.K. Chesterton, one of the great masters of paradoxical thought, understood this deeply and left us with a powerful reflection. The world will never perish for lack of wonders, but only for lack of wonder. Chesterton saw the world as a masterpiece of small miracles, a stage where the ordinary becomes extraordinary when viewed with grateful eyes. This vision was not just an eccentricity of his brilliant mind, but rather a conviction rooted in the belief that gratitude has the power to transform our perception of reality. When we begin to practice gratitude, not only in big moments but also in the small things in life, we start to realize that happiness is not distant, waiting for a future achievement, but is present in every moment, waiting to be recognized. We live in an era marked by chronic dissatisfaction. Modern society, with its incessant comparisons and focus on scarcity, pushes us into an endless quest for what we don't have. Whether it's the dream career, the perfect house, the ideal body, or the life we see on social media, we are constantly bombarded with messages that tell us we are never enough, that there is always something more to achieve. This vicious cycle of insatiable desire leads us to a life of constant longing, where peace and happiness always seem out of reach. Chesterton, in contrast, invites us to a new way of seeing the world, a way that begins and ends with gratitude. He warns us that by constantly seeking more and more, we may end up blind to what we already have that is precious. He reminds us that gratitude allows us to escape this cycle of dissatisfaction, freeing us from the trap of comparison and enabling us to live in contentment. When we recognize and appreciate what we have, we discover that happiness is not something to be pursued, but something we can experience now, in the present. The Bible also echoes this timeless wisdom. In 1 Thessalonians 5:18, we are instructed to give thanks in all circumstances. This is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. This passage does not call us to a superficial gratitude, but rather to a way of life where gratitude becomes the lens through which we see all things. It's not about ignoring difficulties or pretending everything is fine, but about choosing to see the good that exists even in the most challenging situations. Chesterton, with his ability to find the sublime in the simple, challenges us to cultivate an attitude of gratitude that transcends circumstances. He suggests that instead of being consumed by the desire for more, we should marvel at what we already have. This doesn't mean we shouldn't have ambitions or seek to improve our lives, but rather that we should balance this pursuit with a deep appreciation for the present. By doing so, we find a joy that doesn't depend on external achievements but springs from within, nourished by the recognition of daily blessing. As we embark on this journey of gratitude, we may be surprised to discover that the happiness we seek is closer than we imagine. It is in the dawn of a new day, the warmth of a hug, the laughter shared with friends, peace of a quiet night. Gratitude opens our eyes to the hidden beauty in everyday life and invites us to live each moment with a heart full of joy. As Chesterton teaches us, the secret of happiness is not in the absence of problems, but in the presence of a grateful heart that sees the miracle in every detail of life. In the current scenario, where dissatisfaction seems ever present, we are constantly bombarded with messages telling us we are never enough. Whether on social media, where the perfect lives of others make us feel inadequate, or in advertising campaigns that encourage us to always seek something more, the feeling that something is missing is almost inescapable. This cycle of dissatisfaction is largely fueled by the belief that happiness is always within reach of a new acquisition, a new achievement, a new experience. But can happiness be found this way? G.K. Chesterton, in his work Orthodoxy, offers a vision deeply contrary to this idea. He states that it is not joy that makes us grateful, it is gratitude that makes us joyful. This quote challenges us to reconsider the source of our joy. Instead of seeking it in something external, he invites us to look within, to what we already possess, and find joy in gratitude for those things. Gratitude, therefore, is not an automatic response to well-being, but a deliberate choice that can transform our perspective on life. Chesterton describes the modern world as a constant current that drags us into the insatiable desire for something new. This current prevents us from stopping and appreciating what we already have, always pushing us towards the next thing that supposedly will bring satisfaction. But paradoxically, the more we seek satisfaction outside ourselves, the more it eludes us. Gratitude, on the other hand, offers us a safe harbor against this current, allowing us to anchor in the present and value what we already possess. In the Bible, the Apostle Paul, in his first letter to the Thessalonians, exhorts us to give thanks in all circumstances. 1 Thessalonians 5:18. This is not a superficial suggestion of positivity, but a call to adopt a posture of gratitude regardless of external circumstances. Paul knew that life is full of challenges and sufferings, but he also knew that gratitude has the power to transform our view of reality. When we are grateful, we are able to see beyond difficulties and recognize the blessings that often go unnoticed amidst daily struggles. Chesterton also speaks of the importance of seeing beauty in small things, something that gratitude teaches us to do. In a society that values the grand, the extraordinary, and the spectacular, gratitude invites us to celebrate the simple, the everyday, the common. When we start practicing gratitude, we realize that there is beauty in the daily routine. In the hot coffee in the morning, in a friend's smile, in the sunset at the end of a hard day. These are the things that, if we are not attentive, can go unnoticed, but with a grateful heart, they become sources of joy and contentment. What Chesterton proposes is a true new beginning, a redefinition of what it means to be happy. He suggests that happiness is not in achieving what we don't yet have, but in valuing what we already possess. Gratitude frees us from the tyranny of dissatisfaction, offering us a new way of seeing the world, not as a place that constantly disappoints us, but as a field full of blessings waiting to be harvested. Therefore, by choosing gratitude, we opt for a way of life that keeps us anchored in the present, teaches us to see abundance where others see only scarcity, and offers us a peace that is not disturbed by external circumstances. Gratitude allows us to break free from the cycle of dissatisfaction and embrace life with an open and content heart. So, instead of being carried away by the current of discontent, we navigate the waters of life with the joy that only gratitude can bring. As Chesterton said, it is not joy that makes us grateful, it is gratitude that makes us joyful. By choosing gratitude, we discover that we already have within us everything we need to be truly happy. Chesterton had a unique ability to see beauty in common things, and it is in this perspective that we can find a profound path to gratitude. He saw the world as a grand adventure, where even the simplest things deserve to be celebrated. In his work Orthodoxy, Chesterton expresses this vision clearly when he writes, "The world will never perish for lack of wonders, but only for lack of wonder." This thought challenges us to reevaluate how we view the everyday and to recognize the abundance of miracles that go unnoticed in our routine. In the fast pace of modern life, it is easy to ignore the small things. We are constantly rushing to meet goals, achievements, and new things, often forgetting to appreciate what we already have. The value of gratitude is revealed precisely when we stop to observe and reflect on these small things, those we consider mundane but are in fact inexhaustible sources of beauty and grace. Chesterton, with his keen eye, invites us to discover the extraordinary ordinariness of life, where every detail, no matter how simple, is a gift to be celebrated. Consider, for example, the sunlight that warms us in the morning. How often do we stop to really feel the energy and life that this light brings? Or the sound of rain tapping on the window, a natural symphony that invites us to a moment of introspection and tranquility. And what about the aroma of fresh coffee in the morning? A simple pleasure that has the power to transform the start of the day into something special. These small details, when observed with gratitude, have the power to transform our perception of life. Chesterton saw beauty in the ordinary because he understood that life is made up of simple moments that together form the tapestry of our existence. He believed that the secret to a fulfilling life was not in grand events or extraordinary achievements, but in the ability to find joy in the small things. This perspective challenges us to reevaluate our priorities and to seek happiness not in what is missing, but in what is already present. The Bible also teaches us the importance of valuing the ordinary. In Matthew 6:28-29, Jesus says, "Consider how the lilies of the field grow. They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you that not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these." This passage reminds us that the beauty and grace of God are present in the simplest and most humble things in nature. Just as the lilies of the field, our lives are full of small beauties that deserve to be recognized and appreciated. Moreover, when we begin to practice gratitude for the ordinary, something magical happens. Our hearts open to receive genuine joy, a joy that does not depend on external circumstances, but on a deep appreciation for the present. Gratitude for the ordinary teaches us to live in the moment, to savor each instant, and to recognize that life in its essence is a continuous miracle. The practice of gratitude also has the power to change our perspective on challenges. When we face difficulties, the tendency is to focus on the negative, on losses, on disappointments. However, when we train our minds to recognize the blessings hidden in small things, we find strengths we didn't know we had. Gratitude gives us the ability to see light even in the darkest moments, and to value the lessons that each challenge offers us. Thus, Chesterton invites us to rediscover the wonder of the ordinary. He challenges us to look at the world with new eyes, to celebrate every detail of life with gratitude, and to recognize that true wealth is found in the small thing. Gratitude for the ordinary is a path to fulfillment, a practice that connects us deeply with the essence of life and allows us to live with joy, peace, and purpose. May we then cultivate this perspective in our daily lives, finding beauty and grace in every moment, no matter how simple. Despair is a feeling that slowly creeps in, almost imperceptibly, until suddenly we find ourselves enveloped in darkness. It seems impossible to dispel. In times of crisis, whether personal, economic, or social, despair becomes a constant companion for many. G.K. Chesterton, a master at observing the human soul, warns us about this natural inclination to focus more on shadows than on light. He writes, "Despair is the worst of our errors, as it is denying that there is a meaning and a greater hope that our limited vision can comprehend." Chesterton knew that hope is a fundamental force of life, something that cannot be manufactured but must be cultivated and nurtured. However, the question that arises is, how can we keep the flame of hope burning when everything around us seems to conspire to extinguish it? The answer that Chesterton and the scriptures offer us is simple but profound. Gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful weapon against despair, because it forces us to look beyond immediate circumstances and recognize the small blessings that would otherwise go unnoticed. In his work Orthodoxy, Chesterton challenges us to adopt a worldview where the ordinary becomes extraordinary, where the simplest things in life are, in fact, greatest gifts. He argues that the world is full of wonders, but we often fail to see them because we are so focused on what is wrong, on what is missing, on what could be. This mindset of scarcity is the fertile ground for despair. Gratitude, on the other hand, places us in a position of abundance, where every small detail, every moment becomes an opportunity to give thanks and find meaning. As we practice gratitude, we begin to build a solid foundation of hope. This practice is not a denial of the difficulties or challenges we face, but rather an acknowledgement that even in the worst circumstances, there is always something to be grateful for. The Bible gives us clear guidance on this. Rejoice always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. 1 Thessalonians 5:16-18. These words invite us to maintain an attitude of continuous gratitude, regardless of the circumstances. Not because our lives are perfect, but because there is a transformative power in gratitude that allows us to see beyond difficulty. Chesterton believed that gratitude not only helps us combat despair, but also teaches us to live in a fuller and more authentic way. He observed that the modern world is full of men who speak so much about their great battles that they forget to fight the small ones. In other words, we are so consumed by big problems and crises that we forget to celebrate the small victories, the moments of joy that, when added up, form the foundation of a well-lived life. Gratitude calls our attention to these small victories, reminding us that life is made up of moments, and that by valuing them, we find the strength to face the larger challenges. Gratitude, then, becomes a daily practice that protects us against despair. It is the light that shines in the darkness, not blindly or naively, but with a firmness that comes from the conviction that amidst life's storms, there are still reasons to be thankful. This light not only guides us, but also illuminates the way for others, spreading a message of hope in a world that often seems lost. In the end, by choosing to be grateful, we are choosing life, hope, and the possibility of transformation. Chesterton encourages us to adopt this practice not as an escape from reality, but as a way to live fully within it, finding joy and meaning wherever we are, in any circumstance. May we, therefore, fight despair with the powerful weapon of gratitude, and may this daily choice lead us to a richer, more meaningful, and more hopeful life. The human heart is a vast space where feelings of joy, love, sadness, and pain coexist in a delicate dance. However, resentment and bitterness can gradually take root in this space, corrupting joy and obscuring the light within us. These feelings do not arise out of nowhere. They feed on past experiences, perceived injustices, unmet expectations. Over time, they become a heavy burden, a shadow that follows us and seems impossible to dispel. But there is a powerful antidote to this emotional darkness: gratitude. G.K. Chesterton, a fervent advocate of the simplicity and beauty of life, believed that gratitude was essential to maintaining a healthy heart. He said that gratitude, being almost the greatest of virtues, is the parent of all the others. For Chesterton, living with gratitude was an act of rebellion against the forces that try to drag us into despair and bitterness. When we decide to be grateful, even in the midst of difficulties, we are choosing a path that leads us away from darkness and into the light. Resentment is like a thorn that penetrates deep into the heart, and the longer it remains, the harder it becomes to remove. It grows from the perception that we have been wronged or that we deserve more than we receive. It is natural to feel pain and frustration when things don't go as planned, but allowing these feelings to take over is allowing them to distance us from peace and happiness. Gratitude, on the other hand, is the force that can free us from this destructive cycle. Being grateful does not mean ignoring the pains and difficulties of life. On the contrary, it means recognizing that even in the midst of suffering, there are blessings for which we should be grateful. Jesus, in his infinite wisdom, taught us to pray, "Our Father in heaven, give us today our daily bread." This simple prayer is, in fact, a profound expression of gratitude. It invites us to trust that God will provide what we need each day, and to give thanks for it. It is a reminder that life is sustained by small daily graces that often go unnoticed. Chesterton, with his keen eye for the wonders of life, invites us to practice gratitude as a means of healing. He believed that by focusing our attention on what we have instead of what we lack, we begin to create space for the heart to heal. Imagine someone trapped in a cycle of resentment. This person focuses so much on the negative things that have happened in their life, they become unable to see the good that still exists around them. It's like living in a dark house with closed windows while the sun shines brightly outside. Gratitude is the act of opening the windows and letting the light in. It is the decision to look outside and recognize that despite the difficulties, there is still much to be grateful for. When we do this, something begins to change within us. The heart, once heavy and oppressed, begins to lighten. The emotional wounds that once seemed impossible to heal begin to mend. This does not happen overnight, but it is a gradual process that begins with the conscious decision to be grateful. Gratitude transforms our perspective. Instead of focusing on what we have lost, we start to value what we have. Instead of dwelling on past hurts, we begin to see the present as a gift, something to be appreciated and celebrated. And by doing so, healing begins to take place. The heart, once hardened by resentment, begins to soften and open again to joy and love. Living a life of gratitude is not easy, especially in a world that encourages us to always seek more, to compare our lives with others, and to feel constantly dissatisfied. But it is a powerful choice that can transform not only our own lives, but also the lives of those around us. When we are grateful, we spread this light, touching the hearts of others and inspiring them to also seek gratitude. And thus, little by little, the world becomes a brighter place, one heart at a time. Living a life of gratitude is one of the most transformative acts we can undertake, both for ourselves and for those around us. G.K. Chesterton, reflecting on the nature of gratitude, stated that gratitude is the greatest of virtues and the parent of all others. This simple yet powerful statement carries a profound truth. When we choose to live with a grateful heart, we not only change our perspective on life, but also positively influence the world around us. Gratitude, when cultivated consistently, becomes a powerful force that shapes our character and defines the way we relate to others. Chesterton often mentioned that the truly grateful man is one who is constantly amazed, for he sees the world not as something to be taken for granted, but as a gift that is renewed every day. This state of constant wonderment makes us more open, more receptive to life's beauties, and more generous in spirit. When we live with gratitude, we begin to notice how our actions and words influence the people around us. A simple thank you can have a profound impact, creating an atmosphere of respect and appreciation. Chesterton believed that gratitude has the power to transform even the most ordinary situations into moments of deep human connection. By expressing gratitude, we are not only acknowledging the goodness in our lives, but also encouraging others to do the same, creating a ripple effect of positivity that can change the environment we live in. Imagine, for example, a workplace where gratitude is a constant practice. Instead of focusing on failures or unmet tasks, people concentrate on appreciating colleagues' efforts, recognizing small successes, and daily contributions. This type of environment not only promotes cooperation and mutual respect, but also increases motivation and overall well-being. Gratitude, in this context, becomes a collective force that elevates everyone around. In addition to its impact on interpersonal relationships, gratitude also affects us internally in profound ways. Psychological studies show that people who practice gratitude regularly tend to have lower stress levels, greater emotional well-being, and even better physical health. This happens because gratitude helps us focus on the positive, redirecting our thoughts from worries and anxieties to what is good and beautiful in our lives. As Chesterton said, thanks are the highest form of thought, and gratitude is happiness doubled by wonder. Living with gratitude also means leaving a lasting legacy. People around us are deeply affected by our attitudes. When we choose to be grateful, especially in difficult moments, we demonstrate an inner strength that inspires others to also find reasons to be grateful, even in adversity. This type of example has transformative power, especially in a world where negativity and dissatisfaction often prevail. Chesterton reminds us that gratitude is not a passive virtue. It requires conscious action. We must actively practice it, seeking opportunities to give thanks, both for the big things and the small. When we do this, we begin to realize that our lives are full of blessings, and this realization creates a virtuous cycle where the more we give thanks, the more we have to be thankful. In the spiritual realm, gratitude connects us with something greater than ourselves. The Bible teaches us to give thanks in all circumstances. 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 18, which means that gratitude is not just a response to received blessings, but a constant acknowledgement of the presence and provision of God in our lives. This practice leads us to deep peace. Peace that, as Paul says in Philippians 4:7, surpasses all understanding and guards our hearts and minds. Thus, by living a grateful life, we not only experience this peace, but also pass it on to others. Our actions and words, infused with gratitude, have the potential to heal wounds, restore relationships, and inspire positive change. Our legacy then becomes a reflection of this gratitude, a living testimony that choosing to see the good, give thanks for it, and share that gratitude with the world can indeed make a difference. Living with gratitude is therefore a powerful choice. It is a daily decision to look at the world with eyes of wonder, to recognize the goodness present in our lives, and to allow this gratitude to overflow into the lives of those we encounter. This practice, when taken seriously, not only transforms us but also leaves a legacy that continues to inspire and bless long after we are gone. Gratitude is above all a conscious choice we make with each new dawn. In a world that constantly pushes us toward dissatisfaction and the relentless pursuit of more, being grateful can seem like a nearly revolutionary act. G.K. Chesterton captured this essence masterfully when he said, "Gratitude is the parent of all virtue." This simple yet powerful phrase reminds us that gratitude is the foundation upon which all other virtues are built. Without it, kindness becomes an obligation, patience a struggle, and love a currency of exchange. With it, however, all these virtues flourish naturally and abundantly. When we wake up in the morning, we have before us a field of choices. We can start the day with a sigh of dismay, lamenting what we do not yet have. Or we can choose to open our eyes to the small blessings that surround us. This decision may seem insignificant at first glance, but it sets the tone for our day, and by extension, for our lives. Chesterton, with his ever-attentive eye to the nuances of existence, saw gratitude as the key to this daily transformation. For him, each day was a new chapter in an extraordinary book. The pages were filled with opportunities to marvel and give thanks. However, it is important to acknowledge that choosing gratitude is not always easy. There are days when worries seem to pile up, when life's pains become sharper and difficulties more intense. In those moments, gratitude can seem like a distant, almost unreachable idea. But it is precisely on those days that gratitude becomes most necessary. Chesterton reminds us that joy, which was the small publicity of the pagan, is the gigantic secret of the Christian. This gigantic secret is rooted in the ability to be grateful, even when circumstances seem to give us little reason to be. Gratitude, therefore, is a daily choice that requires courage. It challenges us to look beyond immediate problems and see the bigger picture. This broader perspective allows us to recognize that, despite the challenges, there is always something to be grateful. It may be the presence of a loved one, the beauty of nature around us, or even the simple fact that we are alive to face another day. Each of these aspects, no matter how small, is a reminder that life, in its essence, is a gift. And it is precisely this recognition that moves us from complaint to celebration, from anxiety to peace. Choosing gratitude is in many ways an act of resistance. Resistance against a culture that teaches us never to be satisfied, that encourages us to focus on what we lack, instead of valuing what we have. It is a stance that frees us from the prison of comparison and allows us to fully live in the present. Chesterton, with his profound view of life, believed that gratitude was the key to this inner freedom. For him, living with gratitude was living with a mind and heart open to the infinite possibilities of joy that each day offers. At the end of each day, the choice to be grateful not only transforms our perspective, but also impacts those around us. When we choose gratitude, we spread positive energy that can be contagious. Our words of thanks, our gestures of kindness, and our attitude of celebration create an environment where peace and joy can flourish. This is the true power of gratitude. It not only improves our own lives, but has the potential to transform the world around us. Therefore, as we face each new day, may we remember Chesterton's words and choose gratitude, not as a fleeting emotion, but as a way of life. May we wake up every morning with a grateful heart, ready to see the beauty in every detail of life and willing to share that light with everyone around us. Because, in the end, gratitude is more than a choice, it is a path to happiness. A continuous journey that leads us to live fully and abundantly.